Is there Atlantis under Sahara? Plato's legend of Atlantis has obviously long occupied many people, from scientists to mystics, with many candidates being cited as the possible location of this lost and sunken civilization. But did such a city ever exist? And if so, where might the ruins be? What do scientists say about it? The Sahara Desert is located in the African continent. It is the world's largest hot desert, with an area of 9,200,000 square kilometers, and the third largest desert overall, only smaller than the region of Antarctica and the northern Arctic. The desert covers much of North Africa, including the fertile Mediterranean seacoast, the Atlas Mountains of the Maghreb, and the Nile Valley in Egypt and Sudan. It stretches from the Red Sea in the east and the Mediterranean in the north to the Atlantic Ocean in the west, changing from desert to coastal plains. The Sahel, a belt of semi-arid tropical savanna around the Niger River Valley, borders it to the south. To the south, it is bounded by the Sahel, a belt of semi-arid tropical savanna surrounding the Niger River Valley and the Sudan region of sub-Saharan Africa. The only mention of Atlantis by name in historical texts is in Plato's Dialogues, written around 360 BC, which provides dozens of precise details about what Atlantis looked like and where it may have been located in relation to other ancient world landmarks. This level of detail has led many people to believe that Atlantis did exist. Plato's description of Atlantis included a series of concentric circles around the city, black and red stone, and of course, it was a seafaring society. So, according to Plato, Atlantis looked like this. While philologists and classicists agree on the story's fictional character, there is still much debate about what could have served as inspiration. Plato is known to have freely borrowed some of his allegories and metaphors from older traditions, leading some scholars to speculate that Atlantis was inspired by Egyptian records of the Thera eruption, the invasion of the Sea Peoples, or even the Trojan War. Others, however, argue that Plato created an entirely fictional account based on historical events such as the failed Athenian invasion of Sicily in 415 to 413 BC, or the destruction of Helike in 373 BC. Nonetheless, numerous locations for the lost city of Atlantis have been proposed throughout history, including in or near the Mediterranean Sea. Sardinia, Crete, Santorini, Sicily, Cyprus, and Malta have all been considered as possible locations. Or in the Atlantic Ocean, the Canary Islands and Madeira Islands are such examples. This all started a few years ago in a viral and rather convincing, at least for many, video published in September 2018. The YouTube channel Bright Insight claimed that the features of the Richat structure, also known as the Eye of the Sahara, match Plato's description of Atlantis. The story was covered by Der Spiegel in Germany, Tien Phong in Vietnam, Business Insider Australia, and the major UK tabloids, among others. According to Bright Insight, matching features include 5 concentric circles, the diameter of 23.5 kilometers, approximately 14.5 miles, a waterway outlet to the south, salty groundwater everywhere except below the center point, and mountains with waterfalls to the city's north. Regarding the structure's current location, elevated and away from any body of water, the YouTube channel noted that lakes and rivers were once present across the Sahara, and that the land has gradually risen at a rate of about 2.5 centimeters or 0.8 inches per year since then. Let's take a look at the facts. The Eye of the Sahara, also known as the Richat structure, is located in Mauritania's western Sahara Desert. It's about 2.5 miles across on the ground. The Richat structure was discovered in the 1930s and was initially thought to be an impact crater. However, research in the 1950s and 60s has since ruled out the possibility of it being caused by an extraterrestrial impact, in favor of terrestrial causes, such as volcanic activity. Scientists eventually agreed on a theory that it is a 100-million-year-old dome of molten rock that has been eroded and shaped by wind and water, Even Bright Insight admits that the Eye of the Sahara is a natural structure and that the Atlanteans built their city into it. Steven Novella challenges this very idea, countering Bright Insight's arguments one by one. Regarding the YouTube channel's main piece of evidence, which claims that the Richat structure is a series of concentric rings that exactly matches Plato's description of Atlantis, Novella points out that the fact that both are concentric rings is not at all unlikely, and because the rings are not discrete and incomplete in places, it's unclear how water would have filled the structure. In addition, if you look at the entire formation, you might notice 4 rings of water rather than the 3 suggested by Bright Insight. Furthermore, there is no evidence of Plato's canal, which is supposed to run through all the walls to the inner structure connecting the rings. Bright Insight also claims that the Atlantic flooded this part of the Sahara 12,000 years ago. That also appears to solve the issue of the Richat not being on an island, or was it back then? It did not sink, but rather became landlocked. According to the evidence, the Sahara Desert is at least several million years old, and there is no evidence that Western Africa was ever underwater thousands of years ago. Many other parallels have been pointed out by proponents of the Eye of the Sahara, meaning Atlantis theory, some of which appear to be even more fanciful. 5-time Emmy Award winner Paul Wagner, for example, claims that King Atlas, aka King of Atlantis and namer of the Atlantic Ocean, is the same person as Atlas of Mauritania, or that Atlantis is located in the same location as the eye on Herodias' map from 450 BC. Unfortunately, Herodias did not create any maps himself. However, the maps circulated on the internet as his are neither real nor a hoax. Wagner also makes some interesting claims, such as that many elephant bones have been found near the eye, in accordance with Plato's report of an abundance of elephants and many other animals on Atlantis. We at Earthly Mission could not find any traces of that evidence online, or that fresh water flowed from the center island of Atlantis, which also exists in the Richat structure's center circle. Evidence is also hardly available in this regard. One of Wagner's most convincing claims is that thousands of artifacts have been discovered in and around the Richat structure. He believes that the objects discovered, which include arrowheads, spears, stone spheres, surfboards, oars, ship hulls, and other artifacts, date from the time of Atlantis. So far, no recognizable midden deposits or man-made structures have been identified and reported from the Richat structure. This suggests that the Richat structure was only used for short-term hunting and stone tool manufacturing, and that the apparent wealth of surface artifacts in places is a result of deflation's concentration and mixing over multiple glacial-interglacial cycles. Most importantly, despite Plato's description of a large, advanced settlement, there is no archaeological evidence of a city in the Richat structure that existed 12,000 years ago. There are no traces of a city's worth of artifacts, technology, or even a shard of a clay pot. There is no evidence of engineering, actual walls or man-made structures, or environmental improvements. We simply cannot have a civilization build an entire city and leave nothing behind. What do you guys think? Does this city really exist under the Sahara? Tell us in the comments. I really hope you were able to learn something new and enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to like the video and don't forget to subscribe and press that little bell icon so you can be the first one to watch these types of interesting videos as soon as they're up. I will see you on the next one.